We're not the suits that talk football. We're the dudes that know football. And you've just crossed over into the Trend Zone. Dave here with Casey, and we are the football dudes. Are you ready, brother?
You got that right. Let's do this.
Next stop, the Trend Zone. It is Wednesday, October 1st, baby.
Wednesday, October 1st,
Woo!
2025. It's slipping away.
It's really easy now. Save it. We're coming to you from Los Angeles, California, on the west side here in Santa Monica. It is a absolutely beautiful, wonderful 63 cool evening. What you got over there in the Sherm?
69, dude.
Boom. Righteous, man. All right. In today's episode, injuries piling up, QB switch, and also a little survivor, a little fantasy go backs of the week. And of course, all of the awesome games coming up this week in the NFL. But Casey, we cannot take a trip into the Trend Zone without a tasty nug for the people. What you carrying?
Yeah, sometimes I get to talk about my Sooners when we're talking NFL, and that just happens to be the case today, Dave, with Dillon Gabriel getting the start for the Brownies this weekend. That is 20% of the NFL being quarterbacked by former Sooners.
Wow, you rounded somewhere on there since there's 32 teams, but I'll buy that for $1. Nice math, Casey.
Yeah,
all right,
close.
Yeah, we got some good quarterbacks there out of that mix too, right?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. So they're getting it done, the new QBU, if you will.
That's right. Nice work, man. All right, TrendZone now available for subscription: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. Go there and subscribe right away. All right, Casey, moving on to the top trending stories for this week. And unfortunately, this is seemingly every year it's worse than the year before. It can't possibly be, but here we are up against a boatload of injuries that are significant.
Yeah, we're starting it, unfortunately, with one of the rising stars of this league, Malik Nabers, against your Chargers. He tore his ACL on Sunday, and it sucks, but we're getting to recognize this right when it happens. We saw as soon as the play is like, oh, shit, he's done for the year. Yep. And, Dave, they got to start looking at this field, man. It is getting littered of ACL injuries at MetLife. So it's a long list of star players. So such a bummer, especially with all the action of Jackson Dart coming into play and some enthusiasm going there with the Giants.
Finally getting the W. Yeah, it was all finally turning positive. And for that to happen, it's like an absolute gut punch for Giant fan. And like you said, there's two teams playing in that, and every other team that travels there has to handle that. And it's sort of one of those old school turfs or whatever. It's not the highest quality new turf. No. So if we're going to go turf, at least go with the highest quality. Interestingly, they're going to provide natural grass for the World Cup when they play there. And then they're going to get rid of that crappy natural gas so they can go back to this fucking stuff that kills the guy's knees.
Yeah, dude. And I'm not looking forward to my Cowboys are going to be there this weekend. So knock on wood, we can get out of there. But everybody ran to the waiver wire to try to pick up Darius Slayton or Wan'Dale Robinson if you hadn't yet. Jalen Hyatt's not gotten into the mix like they thought this guy would be the big play receiver that he is, but just a couple names that are going to try to fill the void of Malik Nabers, but just such a bummer, dude.
Yeah, second-year guy and had a phenomenal rookie season. All right, moving on, Casey. That's not the only big-time receiver that just took a serious injury this weekend.
Yeah, Monday night, Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill tore his ACL and other ligaments. This was a gnarly one, just kind of got rolled up on the sideways, and you saw it. It's like, and if you didn't see it, don't go look at it. But he's going to be
into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which I know a lot of people are, but he's going to miss the season. McDaniel already confirmed that he dislocated his knee, so it's a big-time injury. I think Tyreek is close to 30 years old. We're going to see. I
believe 31.
So, 31. So,
and the final year of his contract, he's been disgruntled there. So you have to assume this is a turning point in his career.
So are those antics after the injury? Was he stoked knowing he's not going to ever play for the Dolphins again? Because I know he's a positive guy, but that was weird.
It's a hard guy to read, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he I mean, you got to laugh or cry, I guess, when you know that something really tragic went wrong with your knee there, right?
Yeah, and
it's like all kinds of ligament damage. I don't know what, I'm no doctor, but I've seen enough football injuries to know that looked gnarly.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't the only one, though, Casey. There's been more littering
Yeah. Ugh.
rosters.
Ravens defensive tackle Nnamdi Madubuike. I might have butchered that name, but he got his neck butchered, and he is going to be on IR. And there's talking that it might be even gnarlier than just a year, that it could be career ending. Hopefully not, because he's a bright young player. But
he's a beast too.
And dude, that's not just it. They're already missing Marlon Humphrey. We're not sure what the status of Lamar Jackson is this weekend. Ronnie Stanley's out. Patrick Ricard, not Picard, for the Star Trekkies out there. We mentioned Nnamdi, Broderick Washington, Roquan Smith, Kyle Van Noy, Nate Wiggins. No wonder this defense is sucking so hard right now, dude.
Wait a minute. This is the Ravens. This is a great defense, is it not, Casey?
Well, they're spending money, but dude, that's $140 million that's on the sidelines right now.
Yeah. In fact, unfortunately, this Ravens defense is technically the worst in the league right now, having given up a NFL high 133 points through 4 games. The Ravens, again, in the past, the Ravens have struggled in the beginning of the season, gotten it right midway or towards the end of the season for that playoff run. Mm-hmm. It's hard to imagine, although they are going to hopefully get a lot of those guys back. Unfortunately, not Madubuike.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if they can get healthy enough to stay active. There's a lot of good teams in the AFC. So
and they're 1-3, looking up at a lot of those. Casey, that's not the end of the injury stories.
Unfortunately not, man. It's just getting more brutal for the Cardinals. They're going to place Trey Benson on IR too. That's already on top of Connor going down with the season ender. He's got the knee, so at least the next 4 weeks, we'll see how it's going. They're hoping that he can come back. Michael Carter got named the practice squad, the Pat Tillman practice squad player of the week. And then he finds out this week that he's going to be the starting running back. So there was some heat around this guy when he came out of college. So maybe he can step in there. And the good news for Arizona, they're playing Tennessee this week. So hopefully it gets a little better there.
Yeah, they got to take care of business and get on in the W column there. Casey, just real quick, not season ending, but a couple of other dudes that are big-time players.
Yeah, Bucky Irving, he was on crutches wearing a protective boot. They're not sure the extent of it. We haven't seen what happened with the MRI. And your guy, dude, Joe Alt, he's got the high ankle sprain. We're not sure how long that's going to keep him out. He's already shifting positions to make up for the other injuries on that offensive line. So hopefully he can back sooner than later, because your our Chargers got out to a 3-0 start, and then we'll talk about what happened last Sunday. But man, they are losing players left and right on that offensive line.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge to piece together a functional line there, Casey. All right, moving over. There's some new flavor in Ohio.
That's right, baby. That's part of my nug was Dillon Gabriel. He's going to get the start for the Browns this week. 3rd-round draft pick out of Oregon. Before that, Oklahoma. Before that, Central Florida. 62 starts under his belt. But, Dave, his first start is not even going to happen in the good old US of A. He's across the pond for this thing. They are going to take on the Vikings in London. So if you want to see DG do his thing, you got to get up early.
Yeah, no doubt. And Vikings on a monster road trip, right?
Yeah, this is back-to-back games. They were in Ireland last week. They're going to wing on over to London and jam with the Stones.
Right.
And, Joe Flacco started the first few games for the Browns 1-3. Wasn't going to be the long-term solution. You got all those quarterbacks there. You drafted 2 of them. One's not saying a word, and the other is saying a lot and taking advantage of his opportunity, though. So it'll be interesting. Gabriel's one of these guys that's always taking care of the ball. But like I said, Dave, 62 starts in college. He's going to be prepared to come in, but that is a tough defense he's going to go up against.
Yeah, is there going to be a short leash on this guy, because the crowd could be clamoring for the other dude on the other end of the bench?
I mean, maybe when they come back to Cleveland, that might happen, but I'm not sure they knew who the hell Shedeur Sanders is over there in swinging London town, baby. Yeah, baby.
Okay, see, we've been the theme for the couple of first weeks here, undefeated and winless teams. We're just going to mention them here, but who we got?
Yeah, dude, and this is looking like it could be a potential Super Bowl matchup. In the AFC, it's the Buffalo Bills. NFC, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. And Dave, just 3 winless teams, the Jets, the Titans, and the Saints.
Yeah, boy. When will it end, right?
Well, hopefully not for the Jets this weekend.
Yeah, okay. We'll get to those games and soon enough for the people, Casey. All right, moving over to last week's fantasy action. It's total fantasy domination. What you got?
Yeah, Dakota Rain Prescott, baby, on the Ogre. Never Algos, who is a Philadelphia fan, but he knows how to win fantasy games by drafting Cowboys, baby. 319 pass yards, 3 touchdowns, and a rushing TD. But Dave, he needed just one more.
And at the running back position, a rookie for the Raiders. Ashton Genty, also on the Cookie Monsters for the Raiders there. 138 rush yards and a rush TD, 17 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Did lose a fumble, but a heck of a day for Genty.
Yeah, and this dude did not stop rocking all night. We're talking George Pickens for your lightning strikes, Dave. And my Dallas Cowboys, 134 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, baby.
I went into that game down 32 points to my brother in the Bolt action. I was like, it can't happen. Pickens needs 2 touchdowns and 100 plus yards. Woo!
No
Pickens,
prob,
baby.
Bob. He delivered.
It came through, man. All right. And up next, it is, of course, Dallas Goedert for the Ogre Never Algos. The Philadelphia fan does have an Eagle on his fantasy roster, 37 receiving yards, but 2 touchdowns. Count them. I had to let that guy go because he was injured in week 2.
Ugh.
Fortunately, targeted him in the draft, but had to go.
Bye.
All right, Casey, fantasy go backs of the week. This is where we go back and we look to our previous week's action and ask ourselves, is there something I could have done to somehow salvage the week?
Yeah, I could have started Matthew Stafford over Josh Allen. Never going to happen. And I could have started Chuba Hubbard over the King, Derrick Henry. But, Dave, I would have still lost to the Purple Sabbath, who bejoned me to the point of 24.10 points. And then Achan on Monday night was too much for the Foul Boys, who've now dropped back-to-back games, Dave.
Oh, boy. Bad trend. On my situation, Casey, I did come away with the W. And there was really nothing I could have done. I could have put in Travis Etienne over Kyron Williams. Again, one of those things I probably would not normally opt for. That would have gained me 11.1 points, and I would have went up into 4th place from 5th place. Not in the money, though, which is top 3. So it wouldn't have helped me.
Got that dub, though.
Got that W. I'm just happy to walk away with the W here. That gets my team to 3-1. All right, Case, moving on to the Survivor, also known as 3 strikes in our league because we're a little more lenient like that. Last week, what do we have? Next week, what do we got? Where are we at with this thing?
Most popular correct pick last week was Detroit over the Brownies, almost 30%. Dave, I picked the Pack to try to jinx them, sacrificing my first strike. Ended up in a tie. Still cost me a strike, which is a bunch of crap.
Brutal.
But plug your ears real quick because the most popular incorrect pick was your Los Angeles Chargers over the New York Giants, almost 13%. Moving into week 5, the people like the Cards over the Titans, the Lions, again, if you didn't take them, over the Bengals, and the Colts over the Raiders. All of those upwards of over 20%.
Yeah, about that Charger loss, Casey, just real quick, one of the only satisfying things about it was that Paulie, the Charger fan in our group, picked the Chargers in some kind of reverse psychology maneuver and paid the price with a strike.
Yeah.
Go Waker.
He wanted it. He sacrificed. That's what I tried to do, Dave.
Yeah,
1 second. I was 1 second away.
Oh, my God. All right, Casey, moving on to the game previews coming up for this week. It is week 5 in the NFL. Woo!
Wait a minute.
Yep.
What did you say?
Week 5 coming up.
Week 5?
5 it is. Cinco.
It's slipping away.
Yes, indeed it is. We are actually into the bye season of the NFL. So there are 2 less games this weekend as the Pittsburgh Steelers, Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, and Atlanta Falcons are all taking the weekend off. But Casey, we're going to get things started on Thursday night, and it is going to be the San Francisco 49ers at Los Angeles to play our Rams. And this is a good one, divisional. These teams always play each other tight.
Yeah, dude. And both of these teams sitting at 3-1, trying to get a chokehold on that NFC West. The Seahawks are going to have something to say about that as well. But
That's right. It's a
these
good division.
Niners are all kind of banged up. Brock Purdy's not going to play. Jawan Jennings is not going to play. Ricky Pearsall is not going to play.
Whoa.
They're already out Kittle. They're already out Bosa. It is a mash unit over there. And now they get the Rams on the short week, Dave.
Wow.
Luckily, the Niners have a pretty decent schedule, and they got Christian McCaffrey there who didn't really run for all that much last year, but he was able to have 6 grabs for 92 yards. And they're feeling like fighting over there. Saleh wanted to go over there and punch Liam Cohen in the face,
right.
but the players got in there. He said he was going to end that guy. So
I had to go back and watch that like 2 or 3 times. I had to go back. Wait a minute. Who's yelling at who there? It was trippy, man.
And it's getting kind of back and forth online. I thought it was kind of Bush League. The Jags taking a knee. Usually when that happens, the teams acquiesce. Fred Warner, I love him. One of my favorite players, even though he is a dirty Niner, launches over the line, doesn't get the ball, and he rolls up on the tackle or the guard for the Jags.
Totally
That's
unnecessary.
A lame way. Yeah.
That is Bush League right there. Casey, how's the toe? Purdy's toe, that is. Of course, not yours.
The Sergeant Hulka, dude, not so good. Not so good.
Boy. All right, this Rams team, dude. They are pretty awesome. Last week, getting the dub against the Colts. Both teams went into that thing with a shiny, perfect record, and the Colts were down by 7 late, tied that thing up, and got the 88-yarder. Woo! I'll tell you, 1 catch for Tutu, 88 yards, and a game winner, baby. That was exciting. But Puka Nacua, dude, oh my God, this guy is uncoverable, right? 170 yards and a touchdown for Puka. And they didn't get a ton out of Kyron Williams, but between him and Corum, nearly 100 yards. So obviously they got it done. The defensive front for this Rams, so outstanding, man. They really do an awesome job, and they did pick off Daniel Jones twice. And ultimately, that's probably the difference in the game right there. This Rams team at home is going to be real tough this weekend, obviously, against that banged-up Niners squad.
Yeah, dude, it's a huge game. The Rams are a blocked field goal away from being perfect on the season.
Yeah,
rounding in the form. I love McVay. Love this Rams team. All right, Dave, let's go ahead and go international, baby. This is a second week of a 4-week stretch of international games. We mentioned the Vikings. They went ahead and stayed over there, and they're going to welcome the Cleveland Browns to London, and the Vikings are 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah, and obviously you mentioned that the Vikings on a monster road trip here. But, last week looked like they were just getting pummeled by Pittsburgh and Aaron Rodgers, that magical Flores mystical defense that confuses every quarterback. Rodgers was just letting it rip within 2 or 3 seconds and just getting the ball out of his hands. He had a nice game. Vikings made it a nice game of it late, but not enough. And then Cleveland, the only story here is, of course, this is Gabriel's start. So that's the storyline there. They have a fantastic defense, arguably one of the best in the league. Will they be able to slow down that Vikings squad? They got a great game last week out of Jefferson, got Addison back. Jordan Mason played well for them. They just came up short there. They got too far in the hole. I don't know if it's going to be Wentz, Casey, or J.J. McCarthy, but I've got a feeling it's going to be Wentz. They're going to be probably cautious with McCarthy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if staying over there, it makes sense, but if that helps the Vikings in this game, going up against a rookie quarterback too. But that Browns, man, they play tough defense though, and Carson Wentz, if it is, both of those quarterbacks have been mistake prone.
No doubt about it. Up next, moving into the regular earlier slots, the 10 a.m. West Coast, 1 o'clock East Coast time slot. We'll get things started with your Dallas Cowboys on the road to play the New York Jets on that treacherous turf there that they have. Cowboys on the road, though, favored by 2.5 in this one.
Yeah, 1 second away from taking down the Super Bowl bound Green Bay Packers and Micah Parsons. And I'm calling bullshit on that sack, dude. No lost yards. We're calling that a sack. It looked like Dak got a half yard on that. But either way, I like the way the Cowboys kept Micah off of Dak. Dak is playing incredible football right now, and he did it without CD. We mentioned the the Pickens performance there. Unfortunately, dude, Kavontae Turpin is going to miss this one. 1 of 7 Cowboys out, dude. Tyler Booker, he's probably going to miss. Tyler Guyton, probably going to miss. Malik Hooker is going to miss. CeeDee Lamb is out. Miles Sanders probably missed. Kavontae Turpin, those guys didn't practice. And it's hard to say that you see the defense getting a little bit better, but I feel like it's going that way. Bland and Diggs on the field at the same time. I think it's only the 6th game they happen. And you could see Jadeveon Clowney getting in to rhythm with this team. So he's going to get more involved in this defense. And really, I think he's going to have a huge impact as the season goes on. And James, the quarterback, Shamari James out of Florida, watch for this guy to get on the field and start making plays with that speed. This is a must-win game for the Cowboys at 1-2-1. Stay in the mix. You got to beat these stupid Jets. And hopefully Clowney can contain that run of Justin Fields because, oh, my God, that was explosive last week, the 4th and 1 against the Finns. Bye.
Yeah, well, luckily it seems like the weak spot for your Cowboys defense has been in that secondary that's been exploited a little bit. And the Jets aren't, all that big on the forward pass.
Yeah. We got that going for us. All right. Okay, baby. Up next, it was the team that played those stinking Jets, the Miami Dolphins at the Carolina Panthers, and the Finns are 1.5 favorites.
Yeah, and of course, Dolphins took care of business last week, edging by the New York Jets, obviously. But unfortunately, despite the win, which was crucial because of their season was kind of going into the tank, they got that. They righted the ship there, but lose Tyreek Hill in the process, an enormous loss for them. It does take a ton seemingly away from the potency of that Dolphins offense. And then on the other side, we've got the Panthers. Week before last, they came out, everybody's feeling good about this Panthers squad, and then not so much this week as they, take a loss and got kind of beat down by the Patriots there. Panthers are sort of a mystery still right now. They just got to, plug away and keep getting better. This is a possibility. They get a solid performance at home. They get the ground game going. And, if they can eke out a W, then that would be awesome for this Panther squad.
Yeah, and they're saying today that Chuba Hubbard might not play in this game. And if he doesn't, that's going to be even more brutality for those Panthers.
Yeah, not a good situation. Mm-hmm. All right, up next, Casey, it is the New York Football Giants on the road to play the New Orleans Saints. And this just in, the Saints are favored by 1.5 in an NFL game here. So,
wow, that's kind of shocking. We talked about Jackson Dart getting his first start, and the dude has juice, man. This guy got a lot of starts at Ole Miss after bailing USC, and they didn't ask him to do too much, only 13 to 20, 111 yards and a touchdown with Dave, no interceptions. And then I think that the element that kind of hurt you guys too was the 54 rushing yards and that rushing touchdown. Yeah. But man, you mix him with Scatterboo, and there is some good vibes on that Giants offense. And we talked about how good their defense could be and was last week against your Chargers. And then in the Saints, I think they were offended that they were 17-point dogs to Buffalo. They hung in there tough for a little bit, but they're the Saints and the Bills are the Bills. So maybe them getting their first win isn't, out of the realm of possibility, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, favored at home. I was impressed with Dart, though, just on a quick aside. He brought mobility. He did tweak that hammy a little bit, and I was kind of concerned about the long-term idea of that. Hand the ball to Scatterboo a little bit more. The numbers weren't great for them at all across the board, but the plan was really good. Run the ball a lot and use Jackson Dart's legs, but he can't come up with a bad hammy. So let's hope that he's able to nurse that along and be okay.
Yeah, and work those other guys into the mix. Obviously, no Neighbors. All right, Dave, up next, we got the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens, and the Texans are a 1.5 favorite on the road, bro.
Ooh, baby. And you wouldn't have thought that a week ago. The Texans, of course, were 0-3. They got the perfect thing. game against the Titans. That's all you need
Yay!
to cure your ills. It wasn't an incredible game, except C.J. Stroud did get on target. He got right there with 2 touchdowns and a nice efficient game, 22 of 28 for 233, a 125.2 quarterback rating. Woody Marks at the running back position has emerged out of USC as a weapon for them there, running and receiving the football. He had 69 yards rushing and 50 yards receiving. So looking good. He also had 2 touchdowns combined there. So Nick Chubb also nearly 50 yards on the ground for them, and Nico Collins with a decent game as well. So they just they've still got a very good defense, and as all they got to do is be able to get a lot of points on the board. And this Ravens defense has been giving up a lot of points. So if they're able to basically put a ton of points on the board, then their defense is going to hold the Ravens down a little bit. So they've got a real good shot at going on the road. Vegas agrees.
Yeah, dude. And we talked about that list of broken defenders for the Ravens. That's part of the reason why they're sucking so hard. And now you got this predicament, dude. If Lamar is not ready, if that hamstring is a little tweaked, you don't want to rush him back out there and potentially jeopardize his season. But Dave, these cats are 1-3.
Yeah.
So like,
where do you now? At what point do you panic? A little bit.
You hit it right now because Cooper Rush, dude, he's serviceable. He won some games for the Cowboys, but I got an idea for the Ravens. Hand the freaking ball to King Henry. This cat had 8 freaking carries in the game, dude. What are they doing? Are they trying to lose? Because it's infuriating, and it seems like every week we're talking about it. The last 2 years in the playoffs, we talked about it. What are they doing, dude? They're getting too freaking cute. Give that dude the freaking rock, especially with that defense being such a sieve. It makes no sense to me, dude. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Run the clock by running the football.
Derrick Henry, bro. Over 5 yards of carry last week. He only had 8 of them.
And he had it was the first drive. He was all the way down the field and a touchdown, and they basically shelved him practically after that.
Dumb move, man. Those Ravens piss me off, and I don't even care about them.
Yeah. All right, up next, it's the Denver Broncos at the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles at home, favored by 3.5. Go. Fly, Eagles, fly.
I got to say that I'm rooting for the Donkeys this week, which doesn't happen often, but it is going to happen on Sunday. And the Broncos did what a good team is supposed to do. Came out and made quick work of a terrible team. Yeah. Gave Cincy no hope in this thing and just hammered them, dude. Yeah, Bo Nix, 29-42, 326, 2 TDs, 1 pick. How about J.K. Dobbins going over 100 yards for those Broncos? And we're starting to see why they like R.J. Harvey so much as well. The receiving core, dude, pretty even distribution. Marvin Mims is evolving as a receiver, but Cortland Sutton is out of control, dude. But if the Broncos going to stay in this one, that defense will have to try to stymie the Eagles offense, which hasn't been producing too much, but they're winning games. They're sitting at 4-0. Could be much difference, but that's what it is. I need my guy Nick Bonito to be in that backfield all day.
Yeah, that Broncos defense is to be reckoned with, no question. One of the top defenses in the league, but this Eagles offense is up for the challenge, I believe, Casey. Last week, they got out in front of the Buccaneers, a very good Buccaneers football team. They kind of just took care of business. They were out 24-6 at halftime, kept the lead up 31-13. The Bucs made it close late, but Philadelphia does what they need to do. The statistics don't scream domination so much, but they do put together just such a complete game with no weak spots. I mean, Jalen Hurts, 2 touchdowns on only 130 yards passing, but a 104.5 quarterback rating. Saquon, 43 yards, right, and a touchdown on the ground. Another 31 receiving there. And all of the receivers combined, I mean, it's only 130 yards passing for Hurts. So it's not like they're lighting it up, throwing the ball around at all. And Saquon didn't mow over anybody. So they just seem to do exactly what they need to do. They play solid on all 3 phases, and the defense that they put out there, one of the best in the league. So we'll see how the second-year quarterback Nix can handle himself in Philadelphia against that defense. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, you mentioned not a lot of production out of Philadelphia. How did they win against the Rams 2 weeks ago? Two blocked field goals, including the game winner they returned for a touchdown, and then last week blocking the punt on the first possession of the Bucks, taking it in for a touchdown. So you meant all three phases, absolutely. All right, Dave, let's move this thing forward. It is the Las Vegas Raiders at the Indianapolis Colts, and the Colts are 6.5-point favorites. That feels a little high to me.
Yeah. Well, and how about this Raiders squad? Last week things looking good for these Raiders as they're setting up to win that game. And oops, this has been the year of like the block field goal, has it not?
Oh, it's crazy.
Right. They get the block field goal. They get it. They end up losing by a point in a game they're set up to win. And a great performance from Austin Genty kind of goes away, unfortunately, for Raider fan. It was quite entertaining for me because it looked like the Raiders had done what they needed to do, get the dub, but they dropped to 1-3 as a result. Geno Smith did throw 3 picks in the game, so you can look at the bigger picture and say they could have had this game had Geno been a little more safe with the football. He's thrown a ton of picks, it seems, this year so far. Only 117 passing yards, too. They did enough offensively to win this football game, though. You just got to play better special teams and get the dub.
Yeah, dude. And these Colts, man, they would have stretched the lead to 2 touchdowns on the Rams last week. Adonai Mitchell holding out the ball. Cross the freaking goal line, dude. I hate to sound like a grumpy old man in this shit, but what are you doing?
Not too much to ask.
No, get in the end zone, and then you can do whatever the hell you want to. Instead of a touchdown, it's a touchback, and then this poor bastard, when your guy, Jonathan Taylor, was ripping off that 50-yard touchdown to put it up to 2 scores, it got called back because of an Adonai Mitchell holding. So, dude, better pick it up this week. But overall, these Colts are playing pretty good. Dime bag with 2 interceptions. Got to clean that up. But other than that, dude, there are a lot of weapons on this squad. The defense is playing well. Jonathan Taylor is running like a freaking beast. So if they clean up their mistakes or don't even have them this week, they should handle these Raiders. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe that 6.5 is not enough. And, dude, real side point real quick. I like the way that they are incorporating Tyler Warren into the entire offense, getting some of that stuff in the backfield, making him do other things.
Vulture to touchdown away. Vulture to touchdown away from my guy Jonathan Taylor in fantasy.
That's
where I like that strategy.
Yeah,
they got some good weapons, man.
Yeah,
that's a fun team offensively. They got some pieces.
Yep.
All right, moving into the late slot of games, Casey. We'll get things going here with the Tennessee Titans on the road to Arizona to play the Cardinals. Cardinals at home, favored by 7.5.
Yeah, and Titans still looking for that first win. And if Cam Ward is keeping it a buck, they look like ass right now. And I guess that didn't go over well with the coaching staff and the veterans on the team, but he's going to learn his way in the NFL. I think he's a really solid player. He's not used to losing, especially the way these guys are. So he'll figure all that stuff out. Still a young dude with a tremendous amount of upside. But Dave, I'm no math wizard, but I think you need more than 0 points to win a football game. Hopefully these guys can get Tajay Spears back sooner than later. I know he started practicing. I'm not sure when he's back, but they want to get this win. But this might be a team that's also dealing some of their better players. Jeffrey Simmons to the Cowboys. Oh, excuse me. And moving some of those guys, getting more draft picks and trying to build this team around Cam Ward. And then Arizona, heartbreaking loss to the Seahawks on Thursday night. What a game, though, dude. Couldn't get anything going. Marvin Harrison Jr. in the dumps. They kind of hang around. Harrison figures it out, gets the touchdown, gets the game tied up after Seattle had missed the field goal to put it away. They get the field goal to end the thing and get the win. Just a brutal loss for the Cardinals. At least they had the mini bye week, but we mentioned the running back problems they're having there. But hopefully that second half of the game is what we're going to get out of Marvin Harrison Jr. moving forward.
Yeah, and they need to find a way to get Kyler to be Kyler. He has to get some of that ground game back that the running backs are missing, and maybe some of those quick passes to simulate the run game there, because obviously, down to their third back there.
And feed my guy McBride. Oh, Dave, do you like cats?
Yeah, absolutely.
Meow more than ever.
Meow, man.
All right. Well, we got a cat battle on Sunday. It's the Detroit Rock City Lions at the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Lions are 10.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I got a cat sitting right here, actually, right next to me, Casey. Let's start with the Lions, man. Started the season off in slow-mo there and not getting it done, but they have since righted the ship. The loss of the two coordinators, maybe just a little adjustment period there, but they have got it adjusted, and they are playing some good football, even against that Browns defense last week. That's pretty good squad there. They put up 34 and dominated the football game. They're in good shape right now, the way they're playing football. The Bengals, on the other hand, finally got rid of their slow starts to the season, getting a 2-0 start, and then sure enough, losing Joe Burrow. And it just seems like the wheels are falling off right now. Browning's a decent quarterback. We've seen him play well 2 seasons ago when he got a game stretch of about 6 or 8 games or whatever it was and put up some good numbers. But this team just looks totally lackluster right now, dropping the last 2. This is a point of, a certain which way do we go here as a Bengals squad, because they're not getting Burrow back until Christmas time or so. The season could be way gone by then, especially this is a tough task against this Lions squad.
Yeah, Lions picking up where they left off, working the kinks out, and they look like they're restoring the roar.
There you go. Detroit Rock City, baby.
You got that right.
All right, where are we at, Casey? We've got the Washington Commanders at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers at home. Favored by 2.5. How about that?
Good news or bad news, Dave?
I'll start with the bad news.
Okay. You're going to see a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback.
I knew it. They always get healthy just in time to play the Chargers.
And the good news is you're not seeing a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Marcus Mariota is probably done. It looks like Jaden Daniels is going to be back for this one. I'm not sure what's up with Scary Terry, if he's going to be back.
I'm not sure either. I'm thinking possibly no.
Yeah, if you guys can shut down the run, that's going to be a good thing, because last week they had 4 backs all over 6.7 yards a carry, so it's a mix there. But it's obviously a different team with Jaden Daniels, one of the most electrifying players out there. They drop a game though to Atlanta, man, and Atlanta was kind of running away with it, and Washington got into it late, but just not enough. But you could focus, especially if Scary Terry's not in this thing, try to limit what Debo does, force them to go through the air. If you can contain Jaden Daniels, and the Chargers are going to be angry in this one, dropping one to an NFC East opponent last week. They don't want to do it at home.
Yeah, losing to the Giants last week, this Chargers team committed 14 penalties for 170 yards. The 3 previous games, they committed 15 penalties for 107 yards. So they basically matched the 3 games with that 1 game. Incredibly sloppy performance for the Chargers. Not to mention the offensive line was a wreck against that really good defensive front. Losing Joe Alt in the first quarter. Obviously, Slater's out. They didn't have Mekhi Becton because of a concussion. So you're down your top 3 O-linemen by midway through the first quarter. It was a disaster in that respect. 2 weird turnovers. One was an awesome play by DeMarcus Lawrence, a pick, and another one was 2 Chargers colliding into each other, and Herbert just throwing it to an area. So both those picks returned inside the 5-yard line, and the Chargers defense only gave up 11 points, held on one of them, a field goal, and the other one they did give up a touchdown on. But let's talk about what wasn't as awful. One thing is that hopefully they get Mekhi Becton back. Joe Alt's gone for a handful of weeks here, but really awesome breakout performance from Omarion Hampton. His second week in a row was a fantastic game. 12 rushes, 128 yards, and 1 touchdown. Here, just in. Little note: Chargers run more.
Yeah.
12 rushes for this guy. I mean, 10.7 yards a carry, not to mention 5 receptions and 37 yards. He was awesome. Okay. Quentin Johnson continued to play exceptional football. We got another touchdown. That's 4 games and 4 touchdowns for Quentin Johnson, one of the top receivers in the NFL. Even though he struggled with the drops early in his career, he's really shaking things out and coming together and rounding out to be one of the best guys. And our defense is excellent. Okay. Not the best performance last week, but statistically it looked really good. It just gave up too many big third downs last week. But with Tuli Pelotu, 4 sacks, man. It's a shame that this game, with a breakout game from Omarion Hampton and a 4-sack game from Tui, goes into the L column for these Chargers. Yeah, you're right. They're going to be a little salty here. They got beat by a running quarterback last week. That's a rookie, and this guy's better. So better get that defense ready, Chargers. Otherwise, you're going to get beat again at home.
Yeah, just clean up that crap, the turnovers and the penalties, and the Chargers would be fine. That's that game against a non-conference opponent on the road. You're feeling good about running through your division, sleepwalk into MetLife, and pay the price. Dave, this is going to be a sweet game, and this is the best uniform matchup because they're both kicking it old school. We got Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Seattle Seahawks, and the Hawks are 3.5-point favorite at home.
Woo, all right, and this Buccaneers team, I mean, wow. They had been playing with Baker Mayfield at an MVP level, and he still played he always balls out and can will his team to victory. Almost got it done last week against the Eagles, but came up just a bit shy there. But this team has been putting together some exciting football. Baker last week, not his best performance, 22 of 40, so a little bit lower percentage-wise for Baker. The combination of Irving, Rashard White, and a handful of the wide receivers rushing the football, only about 100 yards rushing. So not what they are accustomed to, sort of dominating a little bit more in that ground game scenario. But I've said it every week, and I'm saying it right now. Emeka Egbuka is outstanding, man. This guy is like a seasoned veteran. Yet another phenomenal week from him. 101 yards and a touchdown. Bucky Irvin through the air did get it done with 102 yards on just 5 receptions and a touchdown. So I guess any way that you can get Bucky Irvin the football counts. And keep feeding him. Getting back Godwin was nice. He's got to get worked into shape really to be more of an impactful player. And I'm not sure if they're going to get Evans back anytime soon with that hammy. Last time it was the same hammy. It was about 3 or 4 weeks. I think it took him last year when he got right, but then he was back in good. They don't want to rush too fast. This is the long game. So I don't think we're going to see Evans in this one, but this defense with Todd Bowles running the show there, they know exactly what they're doing too. This is going to be, like you said, this is sneaky, not just the uniforms, but one of the best games of the weekend.
Yeah, dude. And if the Bucks don't have Bucky Irving, which it's looking like they might not, that might be a problem for those guys. And now these Seahawks, dude, just a grimy win against the Cards. Came out, had the big lead, watched it go away, but then got down there and won the thing when they had to. Sam Darnold's 1 sack fumble away from these Seahawks being 4-0, and they're playing good defense too. They need a little more consistency out of the run game. They really fed Kenneth Walker a lot last week and over 4 yards a carry, but they want to get that up and get the combo going with him and Charbonnet, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Woo. One of these other crazy Ohio State receivers that just comes in and takes the league by storm. So Seattle's getting back to its roots, running the ball and playing great defense. Love the reclamation project of Sam Darnold. So this is a big-time game with major playoff implications this early in the season, and with the Rams and the Niners playing on Thursday night. If the Seahawks can get a win out of this, they're going to jump right on top of one of those teams.
Nice. Yeah, both these teams roll in there with defensive-oriented head coaches. This Seahawks team really starting to take on Mike McDonald's image, right?
You don't know me, but I'm your head coach.
Okay, moving on to Sunday Night Football. It is the New England Patriots on the road to face the Buffalo Bills. Bills at home favored by just 7.5 in this one.
Yeah, dude, these Patriots are plucky, man. Last week they put the beat down on Carolina 42-13, man, and it is starting to come together, dude. They wasted a couple of years of draft picks, but it looks like they hit on some of these other guys. They love Drake May, only 14-17, but you like the percentage there. 2 touchdowns, 200 yards. That's a QBR, Dave, 155.6. So that's pretty good. The run game, it's not there yet. Ramondre only 9 for 38 and Trevion 7 for 32. That's pretty good per average. They're going to have more of that against these Bills to try to keep them off the field. And we've seen teams be able to run on them. And as long as Drake May is cautious with the football and throwing it to Stephon Diggs, that's a pretty good formula for success, but they can't afford the penalties or the turnovers. And Dave, they're walking in to Buffalo wearing those rivalry uniforms, and they are freaking sweet, Dave. Winter is coming, bro.
Okay, well, let's talk about these Buffalo Bills. Obviously, in the ranks of the undefeated, not a surprise there. We're sort of, penciling them in as division champions even this early in the season, perhaps hosting the AFC title game. Last week, though, they didn't dominate the Saints like you would expect them to do, but they did enough to get the job done. Josh Allen throwing for 2 touchdowns and running for 1. James Cook really with a dominant performance, 5.3 yards on average, got 117 yards and a touchdown for James Cook. They don't have to do a ton necessarily to beat the Saints, but they're going to have to do, I think, a little more against this Patriots squad, because it seems like the Patriots here, they know the Bills well. They're going to be feisty, and the way that Vrabel coaches, I think they're going to be able to keep this close. And if the Bills aren't careful, this could be a trap game for them, so to speak. So the Bills got to get out in front and stay out in front, because then you'll make the Patriots chase, and that's when the mistakes will happen for Drake May. This Buffalo Bills defense can capitalize.
Yeah, and that Josh Allen, man, trying to work back-to-back MVPs, dude. This Bills squad is a lot of fun to watch. All right, Dave, one banger left. It's Monday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Jacksonville Jaguars, Dave, and the Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites, and it kind of looks like they're rounding into the shape, maybe?
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, Casey. I mean, last week they absolutely took care of business. What on paper looked like it was possibly going to be one of the games of the weekend, as they hosted the Ravens there in Kansas City.
Over early.
And yeah, it just wasn't the game we hoped it would be. And ultimately Mahomes' 4 touchdown passes was more than enough to get it done. 124 plus quarterback rating. And here's the thing, they're able to put together a little bit of a ground game there with Xavier Worthy getting a couple of runs that were big. Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Brashard Smith, they all coming together, and it's about 100 so yards. Not great, but enough to sort of be balanced there. And then getting Worthy back in the passing game, it just gives a whole new dimension, because when he was gone, they had to rely on, obviously, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Tyquan Thornton kind of emerging. So suddenly getting Worthy back, and of course, good old Travis Kelce, now it seems like they're a really balanced and deep receiving group, when a little bit earlier in the season, when they were struggling a little more, seemed like, oh man, they're really, who's going to step up, right? They got some guys to step up. Now Worthy's back. Down the road, I hate to say it, Rashee Rice coming, not this week, but this Kansas City Chiefs team, yeah, I'm afraid you're right. They're just 1 game out of first place in the AFC West, or a game and a half, considering they lost that. But they got another game for revenge against the Chargers to take over this division. Yeah, unfortunately, the Andy Reid, Kelce, and Mahomes reign not done yet, unfortunately.
We talked about it until those little piggy fingers are actually off the cliff and the Chiefs fall down into the ravine. They're still hanging on and they're doing their Chiefs thing.
Come on, Jags.
You can just set your watch to it. But Dave, when is the last time you remember a Jags squad going on the road and out physicaling a team? And that's exactly what they did to these Niners last week. I know that the Niners have a bunch of injuries, but it was Brock Purdy there last week, and they had Pearsall and they had Jennings, and the Jags still went in there and kicked their butts. And the Jags are sitting at 3-1, could easily be 4-0. They somehow let that game against the Bengals of all teams get away from them, dude. And we've talked about it for the last several years. We just need Trevor Lawrence to play consistent football.
Right.
Keep it clean. Not sexy last Sunday, 21-31, 174 and a touchdown. But Dave, a 0 in that interception column. And that's what we've been waiting to see, dude. And then late in that thing when they really needed it, when the Niners were sneaking in there, dude, had the huge touchdown pass to Parker Washington to give them that lead. But, dude, Travis Etienne, I drafted this cat last year in my fantasy league, and he didn't do shit. And last week against this Niners defense, 19 for 124, 6.5 per, and a touchdown along of 48 yards. That's what I'm talking about, dude. And we've seen one of those big runs every week so far. And the defense is playing grimy too. I think they actually lead the league in turnovers. If not, they're right up there. But this is one of the best defenses in the NFL, man. Cohen's having that effect on the squad. So I still feel like the Chiefs are going to win this game because it's the stupid Chiefs. But everyone's going to be watching. Jacksonville's got all eyes on them and the opportunity to go out there and beat these Chiefs on the only game in town. Everybody watching. So let's see what they do with that opportunity. They've had it a couple times in the past to kind of fumble it away. Let's see if these are the new Jags. I'm pumped.
Yeah, no doubt. The turnover ratio is a huge factor. I think they're +9 in that. And if they can keep that going against these Chiefs team, that gives them a huge legitimate shot, no doubt. And you mentioned it. The coaching is what the key thing is here. If that coaching stabilizes Trevor Lawrence and can get the most out of him, which we thought coming out, he was, a generational dude and everything. And now he's just playing consistent football. He doesn't have to flash all the time, but just don't make those big mistakes and let the team around him. There's a lot of talent here with Travis Hunter, obviously, and Brian Thomas Jr. receiving the football. So make the playmakers make plays, and Trevor Lawrence dish it out. Be safe with the football. That defense does have talent.
Yeah, and getting some Strange on offense, baby. The big tight end there doing a lot. And Dave, I never do this, but I got a post-show nuggie real quick. I got to get it in. I'll be quick. Everybody was freaking out of the Green Bay and Dallas ties, saying, "Oh, we need to change the rules. We need to change the rules." Dave, that's only the 11th tie in the last 25 years, or the 11th tie in 6,448 games, or one tie every 586 games, or 0.17% of the time. We keep it the way it is. We remember when it was the Dolphins and your Chargers in the playoffs, and they had all that stuff and what that did to them next week. We don't need that shit in the regular season. It's fine how it is.
I love it. I love the tie, and the 10-minute overtime is amazing too because it just turns up the
puts the accelerator down.
Yeah, man, and it's fine once in a while, that tie. How's that going to mean down the road for the playoffs too? All those new ramifications. It's awesome. I love the tie.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's very infrequent anyway. So that oddity makes it that much more unique.
But you're telling me that timekeeper in Dallas can't wait and not push the freaking button for 1 second? Come on, dude. Where's my home cooking when I need it?
The tie is a beautiful thing, man. All right, folks, that is going to do it. So many ways to check out the Football Dudes TrendZone, available for subscription. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Football Dudes. Like us on Instagram and Facebook, and follow us on Twitter or X at Football Dudes LA. And make sure you tag us across all social media platforms.
Or just go to footballdudes.com. It's all there for you. That is going to do it for this episode of the Trend Zone. We're not the suits that talk football. We're the dudes that know football. For Casey, I'm Dave, and we are out of here.